what I am reading now. Rainy day. We actually have tornado warnings. Hi guys, welcome to a spring reading vlog. Currently it is Tuesday afternoon. We are leaving this coming Sunday for our beach trip, which sort of inaugurates summer in my mind, but I'm still reading some springtime reads before and also most likely when I get back, and so I just wanted to do like a spring reading vlog. My current personal challenge is to finish the book that I am reading right now. I am currently reading A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. First of all, this cover is so beautiful and screams springtime to me. Also, if you're a bookish person, you're probably gonna get this, but this book smells so good. It just has that good book smell that not all books have, and I don't know what it is. I need to look into, maybe it's the publisher or the type of paper that they use or the ink. I have no idea. Rebecca Ross has been saving my reading life this year. I started the year off reading Wild Reverence and loved that book so much. It was the kind of book that I loved so much that it put me into a slump. I feel like I've kind of gone in and out of slumps this year. I've been reading a lot actually, like, well, not a lot compared to most people, but for me, I've been reading very consistently, but there have been a lot of moments where I'm reading a book and halfway through I realize I'm not enjoying it, or it's not the book for me at that time, or I'm just gonna DNF it altogether. That has happened more consistently this year than before. I think it was one of those things where I loved the book so much that it was just really hard to find something that could compare, and not that it always has to compare, but I just have been kind of slowly reading Rebecca Ross's backlog because I've never read all of her books. A couple years ago I actually read Divine Rivals. I loved that book and I never finished the duology. I only read the first one, and I have been reading her backlog, some of her lesser known YA novels, like her standalones. I really like that she does standalone and duology because sometimes it is hard for me to want to dedicate my life to a super long series, and as someone that is pretty new to fantasy, I didn't used to really enjoy it until I discovered reading Rebecca Ross. I just love the whimsy and the folklore vibes. This one specifically is kind of based on Scottish folklore, and so it feels like a moody, eerie Scottish moor vibe, but in the springtime, not necessarily fall or winter, and it is just perfect for me right now. I like going into vacation with a fresh start. There's just something very satisfying about that for me, and so between now and Saturday night, I need to finish this book. Now, I'm a slow reader. I don't read hundreds of pages a day. This one is a slower read for me, and I'm enjoying that. I have to really be good about my time management this week, but I think that I can do it. I think that if I read like 50 pages a day, I'll finish it by Saturday, which is totally doable. Enough rambling, because I need to continue reading A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. It is following day and it is a stormy, rainy day. We actually have tornado warnings. We live in the South, which is pretty common for that to happen in the springtime, so we're just hunkering down. Sometimes it amounts to nothing and it looks like probably not gonna be as bad as they say, but it's always better safe than sorry when it comes to tornadoes. So I'm just sitting here drinking a coffee, and I feel like my dog has to make a noise every single time I start filming. All right, I got her settled. I wanted to give an update on A River Enchanted. First of all, I don't think I ever said what this book is about. I think that the beauty of this book, or something that I have found super magical, is actually not knowing a lot about it. On the back of the book, it tells you that on this Scottish isle that little girls are going missing, and it's not like a thriller type vibe. This is definitely a whimsical fairy tale vibe, but it's all based on the folklore and the story of how this isle functions, which is it's split between the East and the West. The West has come from a certain family, the East has come from a certain family, and they have notoriously hated each other for all of time, basically. There's a whole story or myth about how it all started, and all those kind of details, it's just hard to articulate. I think that it's fun to read and figure out for yourself as you're reading the book. But it does follow multiple perspectives. The main perspective, his name is Jack, and the other perspective is Torin. And Torin is like the head guard in the military of the like high up people. They're not even called like kings in this, they're called lairds, Laird. So he's like the head guardsman and kind of like the chief police kind of vibe, except for Scottish folklore version of that. You also get perspectives of Torin's wife, and you get perspectives of a girl named Adara, who is one of Jack's long lost friends from his childhood. Jack has been gone for like 10 years learning how to be a bard. So he is a musician, and he is sent away for reasons that he doesn't really understand. We don't know who the father is, and so he's kind of learning about his own story, and he and Adara rekindle their friendship and potentially something else. This is just so magical, but also feels like high stakes, which feels like a perfect combination for me, at least right now. Sometimes I need fast-paced things to stay interested. I've just been really liking this. I really enjoy Rebecca Ross and her writing style. She's got a unique voice, and I have not read books that feel like hers really ever, and nothing feels like hers. Like I feel like I could pick up a book that has zero cover on it and be able to tell that it's Rebecca Ross just because of the type of writing that she does and her tone and the prose and the way that she formulates sentences and the way that she expresses feelings and describes nature. It's just all very unique for fantasy space. So I am almost 300 pages into this. I had to work today, and while the baby was napping, I'm sort of like a nanny babysitter situation. So while the baby was napping, I read my allotted almost 50 pages. I'm like 10 pages short of that, so I've read 40 pages during nap time, and I'm about to sit down and read some more. So I'll definitely read more than what I needed to read for the day in order to finish the book this week. So I think I'm on a good track. Okay, it is like a couple days later. I'm currently packing for a trip and I look atrocious, so you're just gonna have to deal with that. Don't feel super good today. I've got a really bad headache and I'm kind of just pushing through. It's 3:30 p.m. and I feel like I'm still dragging my feet. But I wanted to share with you books that I'm gonna take to the beach. I don't plan to do any filming at the beach. I really just need a break from all forms of media and devices. But I want to share with you what I'm bringing with me, and I'll probably end up sharing what I actually read and my thoughts on that after the fact. First book that I am bringing with me is Just Friends by Haley Pham. If you are watching booktube at all, you probably know what this is, but Haley Pham is a really famous booktuber, YouTuber. She published her first book this year. I think it came out in March, and so I have been saving this for the beach and I'm really excited to read it. And then I've got two more romances that I am bringing with me. I've got It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. I believe that's how you say her name. I read Summer Romance last year by her. Never read any of her books before and I ate it up and I loved it, and I actually bought this last year. I think this one came out last year. I bought this one last year and I never read it, and so I've kind of been saving it for this year. I don't read a ton of romance, but going to the beach, you'll notice I feel like I read like potato chip books. Like I want something that is fast paced, that is just easy to fly through the pages and not super heady or like too deep and like dark feeling. And so anyway, It's a Love Story. And then I'm also bringing Wait For It by Jen McKinley. I don't know why I couldn't pronounce that, but Jen McKinley, Wait For It. I've had this on my shelves for literally years, and every time I look at it and just try to decide if I'm going to keep the book or not, something always pulls me back. I just have a feeling it's not been the right time for me. This is a romance and it follows a girl that lives in Boston, wants to escape the winter, and so she goes to like Arizona or something to experience summer, and I think that she's there to like do some sort of business deal. I can't remember the full details, but anyway, I am bringing this with me for an option. And then my like mystery thriller option is What We Did to Survive by Megan Lally or Laley. I loved That's Not My Name by this author. I sometimes like to read a YA mystery thriller kind of thing on the beach. A couple years ago I read The Reappearance of Rachel Price on the beach, and I loved that. This is my stack. I believe that the ones that I'm gonna get to, I usually read around 2 books in a week, so when I'm at the beach. So I think that these are the 2 that I will end up reading, but I always like to have options, so I'm bringing all of these, and who knows what I'll actually end up reading. But I also want to share with you, I sort of am personal librarian to my mother-in-law and my grandmother-in-law, and I have stacks of books for both of them, and I'm gonna share with you what I'm giving them to read. Obviously not everybody likes to read in the same way or the same types of things. As you'll see, they have different, I love all the books that I'm giving them, but it's not what I typically read on the beach. But it is just fun to know their taste and to bring them some book options, and they might read none, they might read all of them, who knows. But my mother-in-law loves all things British and mysteries, more mysteries than thrillers, and she also likes humor. And so the first things that I'm giving her is Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, as well as the second one. I have the whole series, but I'm bringing her both in case for some reason she flies through it and wants to keep reading the series. I think she's gonna really like these, and I think she actually has maybe started this one but never finished it. I am excited to give these to her. I think she's gonna love the retirement home aspect, but also the humor and the wit and the sarcasm, like the classic British humor, as well as just the mysteries are really good in this series. And then similarly, Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. This is a group of menopausal like hit women basically, and they are trying to step into retirement, but this case keeps following them around, and so they can't stop, and there's like a whole mystery of people coming after them and they don't know why. And so I think she's gonna like this. Humor, mystery, British, all the things. And then something not as funny is Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith. This is one of my favorite mystery series ever. This is extremely well written, and I think that she's really gonna love this one as well. So we'll see what she ends up reading. For my grandmother-in-law, she is the person that I give all of my historical fiction recs to, and I also get recs from her. She loves World War II historical fiction just like me, and so have to give her Her Name Helene by Ariel Lawson. Loved this one so much. She really likes the Kate Quinn books like I do. I just know she's gonna love this one. And then similarly is The Night Sparrow. This is really similar to The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn. If you liked one or you liked this one and you want to read something different, that's kind of similar. This has a character that shows up in it that is a real life person that The Diamond Eye was about. So that's kind of cool to draw connections there. And then she also just loves overcoming or overcomer stories. And so I'm giving her Educated by Tara Westover as well. This is a nonfiction. This is following Tara Westover's life. She grew up in a Mormon survivalist family. She escaped that situation and got an education for herself, and I loved this. I thought that this read really well. I actually, when I first read it, forgot I was reading a nonfiction book because the way that it was written felt so immersive and kind of page-turnery. This was just a really great story. So those are all the books that I'm bringing to the beach, and I need to go finish packing. Also, I guess I should give you a reading update as well. I have, I think, 100 pages left of the book. I have an hour and 11 minutes left via the audiobook, which I am listening to as I am packing right now. The audiobook is a little difficult for me, honestly, because it's a Scottish accent, and I feel like it's harder for me to pull the emotions. Like when I'm reading it with my eyes, I pull different emotions from the pages, and so that doesn't come across as well for me with an audiobook. However, I'm kind of struggling with the book in general right now. I kind of am just done with it. I am liking it, and I don't want to DNF it. I want to know how it ends, but I think I'm just anticipating the beach trip so much, and I'm so excited for the books I have set aside for it that I have been waiting for a long time. And River Enchanted is kind of just slow, and I can't lie, I'm tempted just to look up how it ends. We'll see if I end up doing that, but for now I'm just gonna keep listening to it on audiobook while I am packing and cleaning, and tomorrow we're gonna get up and just try to get out the door so that we can get to the beach. So I will keep you posted on my thoughts, and hopefully the next clip will be me updating you after the beach. We'll see. Hey guys, I am back from the beach. I think the last clip I showed you was me showing you my TBR for the beach trip, and we got back and I read 3 books. And I'm excited to tell you what I read and what I am reading now. I first read Just Friends by Haley Pham. I'm rating this 3.5 stars. Really enjoyed it. I think she did a great job of writing on grief, and her world building and like the setting and descriptions and everything felt so immersive and like I was really there. I think she did a really great job with her first novel. There were a couple editorial mistakes that I noticed, like some missing quotation marks and like a sentence was repeated by accident. I don't really have like terrible things to say about it. The only reason it's not higher than 3.5 is I just didn't feel personally attached to the characters. I really enjoyed the story and I cared about them, but it didn't give me the 5-star feeling. Yeah, I just didn't feel like personally connected to the characters, but I'm excited to see what she puts out next because I think that she's writing another book. The second one I read was What We Did to Survive by Megan Lally. I was really disappointed in this one. I ended up rating this 3 stars, but kind of feels between a 2 and a 3 to be honest. The only reason I decided to go with 3 instead of 2 stars is because the twist at the end I thought was very interesting. I just didn't care about it. Like her most recent 2 books feel like totally different than the first one. I feel like the first one, I think is, what is it called? That's Not My Name. I love that. That was 5 stars for me. And these next 2 books that I have tried have just felt like different writing. Like her writing doesn't feel as quality as the first one. This is just not at all what I expected it to be. This is literally just a survival story with teenage drama, and I don't like teenage drama, which is why I am very hesitant to read a lot of YA. I'm kind of picky with YA stuff for that reason. There was just like no substance to the characters at all, and that really bothered me. I feel like only reason that I did 3 stars instead of 2 is because the twist is really good, but I have to tell you guys, I really skimmed the last several pages, and I also looked up summary of how the book ends because I wasn't enjoying my time and I wanted to read something that I was enjoying while on vacation. But I did read basically the entire thing, so I have counted as read. I didn't technically DNF it. The twist at the end was good, which is why I think it deserves a 3 stars. It just was, I think I just feel disappointed because it's just not what I thought it was going to be at all. I thought it was going to be more thriller, and it was definitely like survival story because of a storm. Like that was the craziest thing, is they got stuck on a boat in the middle of a storm that they shouldn't have been on, and that was it. Like there was nothing, yeah, I just didn't have that like good thrillery feeling to me. So 3 stars. The third book that I read, I actually don't own it. I read this on my Kindle because I borrowed it for free from the library with the Libby app. I read Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. Paula Hawkins wrote one of my favorite thrillers, which is The Girl on the Train. I hardly ever reread thrillers, by the way, because usually with that genre, once you know the twists and turns, it kind of takes away from the surprise and the enjoyment of the book. But that is one of the few that I have actually reread with like 2 or 3 years in between so that I've forgotten enough details. That's how much I love that book. And so I was excited to read Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, and I really loved it. The narration was great. I did a lot of immersive reading, actually 100% immersive reading with this book, and there were multiple narrators because we had multiple perspectives, and I feel like the narration brought out a lot of tones of voice that would have been missed otherwise in the book just because of the way that it was written. It was written very uniquely, which I really appreciated that. It didn't feel cookie cutter at all when it comes to mystery thrillers. It's so dark right now because the clouds keep going back and forth, but we're just gonna roll with it. I really enjoyed it, and I landed on 4 stars for this book, and now I want to go buy the book so that I can own it. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I hate doing that. I hate buying books I've already read. It's just not as fun. There's something about that. So I guess I'll show you what I'm reading now that I'm home. So I am starting to do a book club this summer with my mom and one of her reading friends. We've talked about doing this for a long time, and it's finally happening. And we are first reading A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. I've wanted to read this for a long time, and it is going to be really fun to read it and discuss it with people in real life. So I started this last night. I only read a chapter, but I really enjoy the writing and it made me feel things. It was so, like, it pulled so many emotions out of me in only the first chapter. So I'm excited to keep reading this, and I'm annotating it and I'm taking notes so that I can discuss it well. And this is what I'm focusing on because I think it's going to take me a minute to get through it. It's a little bit of a slower read for me. It's also almost 500 pages. We're meeting in like 2 weeks to discuss it, so I want to just get a head start. And I think that in the meantime, if I need something to kind of change it up, I might listen to like an Emily Henry or something on audiobook. That's what I'm reading now. I am gonna go make a coffee and then I'm gonna sit and read and enjoy this book for a while. Okay, it is the next day. I've got my cold brew coffee to enjoy this afternoon, and I want to give you a little update on A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. I started this 2 nights ago technically, but I only read the first chapter, and so yesterday was the first day I really got into the book. I got up to page 90, so I read about 8 or 9 chapters, and I am literally obsessed with this book. I literally was dreaming about this book. I don't remember my dreams very much, like the details of them at least, so I can't tell you specifically what the dream was, but I just remember waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my gosh, I was just dreaming about the book that I'm reading. That is a good sign for me that I am really enjoying the book. I could not put this down, and I didn't even read the full foreword because sometimes the foreword has spoilers and I did not want any spoilers, but I read so much as it said that this is basically a book where nothing happens, but at the same time everything happens. It's just a book about life, and it's sort of a family saga, and the main character's name is Francie Nolan. The book is divided into sections, but each section is called book 1, book 2. So in book 1, it follows a Saturday in the life of Francie during the summer. She lives in Brooklyn. It was just like the most beautiful, meandering story where I was glued to the page and did not want to miss any details at all. And then starting book 2, we're getting more information about her parents' story. And so it's still like with Francie as the main character, we're just focusing on her parents, where her parents came from, how they met, and all that kind of stuff. It really, like, really nothing has happened, but something about the way that she writes, just, I can't stop reading it, and I really already know that I'm gonna want to buy more of her books. I think she has 2 or 3 other novels, and I want to read them so badly. This is a classic, but it's very accessible. Like, writing is very easy to understand, and so if you're wanting to get more into classics, I recommend this as a starting place, actually, even though I haven't finished it yet. I recommend it as a starting place because it is easier to get into. As far as the writing goes, it's easy to understand it. There's a lot of conversations about race and religion and morals and just the mind of Francie. She is 11 years old at the beginning of the book, so just seeing the world through the lens of being a child and seeing the hardships that she has experienced and her still striving to find the beauty and the magic of the ordinary moments is so inspiring. You know, it's really making me reflect on how blessed I am. And I'm not the richest person by any means, but I'm so blessed. And thinking about people that have lived in such hard circumstances and continue to live in such hard circumstances all around the world, and I don't know, it just is like very reflective and causing me to be more grateful in my heart and to really, yeah, just like think about the magic of life, and we can enjoy the little things despite other parts of our life being difficult, if that makes sense. Just because we're walking through something hard does not mean that we're not allowed to still enjoy the small things. It's just, this book is just so beautiful. I can already tell this is probably gonna be a book I will want to reread. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna enjoy my coffee. I'm gonna stop rambling and then I'm gonna read. I thought that I would do a library haul. I went to the library earlier with a friend and we just looked around and we read some together, and then I had to go to Trader Joe's for a few things and it was pouring rain when I left. Like, I could barely see through it. And so I just sat in the parking lot and ate my lunch for a while. I'm home now and I want to show you the books that I picked out. Little side note is that the summer reading program starts today at my library. I grew up doing the summer reading program basically every single year, and there's a ton of nostalgia in that for me. I don't know if I'll even win anything, but it's still just fun to sign up and sort of have the challenge. So I found some things that I took home. I didn't necessarily have anything in mind to get while I was there. I just picked up things that looked fun. The first one is The Lonely Hearts Book Club by Lucy Gilmore. I had seen this around a few years ago and never really looked super into it. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I hope that I'm going to like it. It sounds just so sweet and bookish. It follows a librarian. She meets an older gentleman in the library, and when she hasn't seen him around in a while, she checks on him and realizes that he is actually bedridden, like he's sick or something. And in order to cure the lonely hearts of both of them, they start a book club, and I just think it sounds precious. The next one is In the Woods by Tana French. She writes, I think, is she Irish or does she just write about Ireland? There's not even an about Tana French on the book. My mom has recommended these books to me before, and I love a good mystery, and I'm in just such a reading mood. Like, I just want to read everything. I want to literally inhale books, and I wish I had the time to do that all the time, but I really want to try to focus on free time actually reading, which is part of why I'm excited about this reading challenge. But anyway, that's not even about this. This is the first in a series. They're Irish mysteries. I think that it follows the same detective each time, so it's probably a different mystery every book, but it just sounds really good to me. I used to think that I wasn't really gonna want to read it, but I'm kind of leaning more into like mysteries versus thrillers lately, because thrillers sometimes can just be a hit or miss. Part of what I love about my favorite books is the time that it took to read the book has such a payoff. And while it's fun to read things that are very fast-paced, also sometimes it feels like they just feel kind of mediocre because I haven't had to give as much time to them and like really take in the characters. And as a character-driven girly, that matters to me. So I think that reading more mysteries is actually gonna maybe help me out with that. Now, having said that, I did actually get 2 thrillers. I don't think that they're gonna be 5 stars, but whenever I get in the mood to read something quick, it's good to have an option. So I got Don't You Cry by Mary Kubica. Is that how you say her name? She has written a book that's going around right now called It's Not Her, and I really want to read that one, especially because Emily Henry recently suggested it as a summer read, and I am just so interested in what Emily Henry reads herself. So I grabbed this. It was the only book that they had on the shelves from this author, and who knows if I'll actually read it or not, but it just sounded interesting to me. So, you know, it's the library, so it's free. If I don't read it, it's no big deal. The next one is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Sounds like it's going to be a family drama situation. Everyone's kind of trapped together on an island for the grandmother's birthday, and people have secrets. So, you know, somebody's probably going to end up dead. And then the next one is historical fiction. It's When We Had Wings. Ariel Lawhon is one of the authors. There's 3 authors of this book, and I usually kind of am wary of books written by multiple authors. Don't know why. I think in my head it just feels like it might not be a cohesive story, having like different styles of writing. But anyway, this book was highly recommended to me, and I have really liked Ariel Lawhon in the past. I really liked The Frozen River by her and Could Name Helene, and this one was recommended. And so if I need a good historical fiction, then I've got one. I think that this one follows some Navy nurses in the Philippines, so should be a good one. And those are all the books that I took home from the library today. I've got 150 pages left of A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and I am devouring it, and I'm really having to make myself slow down with this book because I don't know, I really want to take in what the author is trying to say and what she's trying to portray. If you've read the book, then you know it is very sad, honestly. a pointed story that really shows what it was like growing up in the slums of 1910s Brooklyn. And I am just so loving it, and I definitely want to warn people that it is sad, so go into it knowing that there's a lot of heavy things in there, and if you're like me, sometimes you're in the mood for that, sometimes you're not in the headspace for it, so fair warning, but it has been so worth it so far, and I can't wait to see how she's gonna wrap it up. With that said, I think that I'm gonna wrap up this spring reading vlog, especially because next week it's June, and that officially feels like summer reading to me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching the video and for commenting. I want to know what you're reading this summer, if you have any reading plans, if you make TBRs, if you just kind of mood read. I want to know all the things. I would love to just interact some more in the comments on my videos, and I hope that y'all have a good rest of your week. Bye friends.